Hi, NDB board. Hope here with your finance and operations update for January 2025. Always like to start off my presentations with a kind of peek into the current org chart. And so here I put stars where there's open positions. Currently, our only open position is the Chief of National Member Services. And then I have little hearts where there is relatively new or new hires or new positions. So program manager, membership manager were hired back in September. A legislative coordinator is a new position that's part-time. And the manager of legislative policy, Ariana Smith, joined the team back in October when Zoe Kraft left that position. Director of Major Giving is a new position, recently filled by Gabriella Franklin. Molly Boyd is still out on maternity leave. And a very new position, product donation manager, filled by Kristen Eaton, was just filled in before the holiday break. And so I'm excited to talk more about how the product donation program has come to join the administration team. So with this new Great Big Staff, we're really excited to be approaching our annual staff retreat in Connecticut. It's going to be at the end of the month. We're bringing everybody in. We all stay in one place that some of the staff will tell you is haunted. I will tell you it's just a very New England vibe. Our theme this year is communication and collaboration, and we're really excited to be bringing Dynasty Hunt in to actually facilitate for us. It's going to help us to integrate in all the DEI goals and elements into our overall goals for the year. The admin team has had this huge goal of rolling out an internal communications plan for the organization in this fiscal year. And I'm happy to report that with the staff retreat, this will be debuted and discussed for the first time. And what this plan is really a guide to establish clear communication standards for NDBN. We grew so rapidly, every department communicated in their own way. It was very organic, but now that we're fully remote, we're finding that we need to create more standards. We have a little bit more hierarchy now, and so we also want to be able to better report out and get better transparency into what people are working on, when they're working, and overall just wellness of the staff. So we're really excited to be rolling that out with the staff retreat. It also will go hand in hand in the new year with our plan to roll out a new tech plan for switching from the Google platform to Microsoft, which we understand is going to be a pretty big undertaking, but we know that it's something that we need to do for long-term sustainability and for data security. Following along with the administration's team's goals as far as the strategic plan, we have also adopted the Salesforce work. It's really notable that Susan Van Ness was the champion of all things Salesforce here at NDBN for probably the last 8 years or so. Everything that happened in Salesforce, Susan knew about, she managed, she had eyes on, she had hands on. So we had quite a challenge in the new year of figuring out how we would manage and how we would move forward. We're really thankful that in the summer of 2024, we contracted with a new company called Cube 84. And we contracted with them to just maintain and update our Salesforce instance. As you might remember, we were doing that internally. We decided to eliminate that internal position and work with an external consultant. Those projects had started and gotten underway with Susan and the Cube 84 team. When Susan passed away suddenly in September, the Cube 84 team just jumped into action. They were, of course, heartbroken. They had gotten to know her so well. They really knew how invested she was in making this infrastructure work for NDBN. And so they really, took time with our team to get us up to speed on where things were. And we've worked slowly to relaunch that relationship and get a feel for how the Salesforce Instant works at NDBN. So I have taken that on and started to manage those projects and learn all things Salesforce. And what I found is that the Cube team was just absolutely wonderful partners. There was nothing that we ran into that they seem to have any trouble tackling. And so with that, I started having conversations with them of how do we move forward as an organization without our Salesforce Pro here? And so what we decided to do is we entered into a second contract with Cube. We have our regular maintenance and updating Salesforce contract, and then we have this second 6-month long contract where they're going to serve as our enterprise architect, or almost a part-time CTO. And what that's going to do is bridge the gap between these operational needs and our vision and technology. They're going to be able to step in. They're collecting all this information from all the different departments to focus on centralizing our data and really improving efficiency across all the departments. And I do have to say that we're so new into this project, and we've already just seen such great improvements, such great ideas, more buy-in across the organization when it comes to the overall vision for what our technology stack is going to look like. So I am really excited about the trajectory that this project is taking. Currently, they're working with all the different departments to kind of figure out how we collect all kinds of data and where we're storing that, with the goal that we can start getting that into one place, whether it be a data warehouse or whether it be Salesforce, and make it easily accessible. And the word I wrote on this slide is queryable. I don't know if that's really a word, but easily to ask questions and get the information that any person on NDBN staff needs very quickly without having to track it down. And so I'm really excited about that project and the improvements that we're going to be making in the next 6 months. And I will also say that the Cube team with this second contract was so gracious that they also made a $5,000 donation that came off of the contract in Susan's name, because they knew how invested she was in this project, and they felt that the best way to honor her memory is to get Salesforce into the place where she would have loved to see it. And I couldn't agree more. And it's been a real honor to jump into this work and see that through. Okay, so switching gears from the technology piece over to finances. So I'll just start by reminding you that we closed out in June of 2024 with a net income of $1.1 million, which was our 5th year in a row with a surplus. And it's also very notable that this included a $1 million pledge from Seedlings. So in 2023, Seedlings pledged $1.5 million over 3 years, paid out at $500,000 per year. Now, with accounting processes as they are, how we broke that out is we had to record all of the pledge in the fiscal year that it was pledged. And so that's why we had the additional $1 million last year. And that's also notable because it did have an effect on the budget numbers that you're going to see moving forward. Last year, we approved a deficit budget, or for this year, I apologize. For this year, we approved a deficit budget of $648,000, acknowledging that we had seen significant surpluses in the past and that this was going to be a really big growth and investment year as far as investing in our staff and our infrastructure and everything that we do. So with that, because we could not include the $500,000 in the budget anymore because we received it last year, when you see the numbers coming up, you'll see that the budget number is a deficit of 1.1 million. And don't let that scare you. Here's that 1.1 million. It's still leaving us in a really great place. So here's our cash balances. You can see our surpluses over the past 5 years that varied from about $1 million to $229,000. And so even with building in that deficit for this year, when you include fully funded reserve funds, including an operating of almost $1 million and our pledge receivable, we're still planning to end the year with $1 million cash in excess of fully funded reserve funds. So that's really notable. And also that this falls along with our plan in the coming years for probably 3 deficit years where we're planning to deficit and spend down the surpluses. And then by year 27, 28, we are going to balance that budget out. Okay, so let me give you just a quick update on where we are in this current year as far as the first half of the year. So direct public support, which is donations, it is down. However, you can watch tomorrow's video. I won't get too much into this. They have a lot of initiatives and a lot of irons in the fire where they plan to really pick up in the second half of the year. So we're a little low in that area, but we are not too concerned about it. Member support is way ahead of budget. So you can see here that the budget for the whole year is $670,000. And so far they've already brought in $730,000. This is very much due to the donation program and the growth that we've seen with the Kimberly-Clark donation program. And so I'll talk about that a little more in the coming slides. Earned revenue is at a great place with the conference from this year. Buying program was really surprising. We're doing a lot of evaluation into the buying program because we've seen a significant downturn in purchasing from NDBN, and we aren't quite sure what the cause is. We dropped our pricing this year. We made everything cheaper. We made everything easier. And so we're not quite sure what the drop in purchasing is caused by, but we do have some plans in the second half of the year to kind of push out some marketing initiatives and try to get some more traction back with the members purchasing first quality products through NDBN. This other income line is interest earned on our accounts. And so you have our total revenue that includes the buying program. And then when you remove the expenses associated with the buying program, you could see that so far our revenue this year is $1.9 million, which is about 53% of our budget for the full year. So not too bad. So I mentioned earlier about the product donation program, and obviously you can see in the revenue that it's really ahead of projection. I put together this spreadsheet, this chart here, so you could see the growth of the program. Really specifically, I want to focus in on probably the last like 7 or 8 quarters where it has been managed by Member Services and Support, specifically Mary Madul and our logistics coordinator, Brittany Lowe. They have grown it really significantly. And because they've built this relationship with the Kimberly-Clark team, we've seen a lot more consistency in our donations coming through. They used to go from a lot to a little or a lot to nothing, and they were hard for us to know when things were going to happen. And you can see now there's a lot more consistency and a huge amount because the team has really prioritized being able to make these donations available, being able to place them. The Kimberly-Clark team is coming to us all the time asking us to put product out, and we're able to turn it around very quickly. So it's been a great relationship. And with that, we decided that it was time to bring on somebody to really specifically manage this program. And so we hired Kristen Eaton. She formerly worked at Help a Mother Out, which is a member network program out in California. And she is our new product donation manager. And we also made the decision to move this program out of the Member Services and Support Department and into administration, since it is very operationally and financial heavy. And so I am now overseeing this program and the purchasing program. It's doing really well. As you can see, last year the budget was $400,000 and they came through with about $730,000. This year we budgeted a bit higher, but we were still being conservative because we didn't know if it was just an off year. So we budgeted $600,000 for the year. And as of the end of December, they had already generated $658,000 from administration fees from product donations. And so that is just so significant. It's a huge amount of work. And so we're all very excited to have Kristen on board and begin to kind of really operationalize this program so we can also grow it potentially. So finally, we can just talk about the expenses in our first half of the year. Pretty much as you can see here, almost everything was under budget. We would goal to be at 50%. Travel, lodging, food, and meetings. This includes the conference, so of course it's going to be over budget. That's just a timing thing. But overall, we're in a really great place for where we are in the year. So just to recap the first half of the year, we are ahead of pace in revenue and underspending, which is always great. So all good things for the board to hear as far as our first half of the year. It's notable that we're keeping an eye on the revenue to see, especially in the area of donations, how that all runs, and that the majority of our spending does always come in the second half of the year. We have funds for change grants. Of course, we will have hired our new chief of national member services by then. So we'll have a lot of significant costs in the second half of the year. So we are projecting to be at budget, if not possibly a little bit over budget this year. And so we'll continue to keep everybody updated on the status of that. Okay, I know I'm way over time. Thank you for sticking with me for 16 minutes. I just wanted to end with some fun pictures. This is our staff playing a game over the holidays. And here are our new NDBN babies. This is Chase and Lily. This is our NDBN period product tree that we had in the bathroom at the office. And here's just a random picture of Troy with an owl that I believe he saved. You can ask him about that. But anyway, Happy New Year. I look forward to seeing you all at the board meeting.